What up, everybody? It's Charlie and I'm back. So over these last few weeks or days, I'm not good at time, but for the last little while, I've been focusing on a school of thought called liberation theology. It's basically this concept that God is at the end all be all, a God of the oppressed, and that the biggest way we see that is through Jesus' life and ministry here on earth. The whole time he was here, he focused on healing the sick, feeding the poor, and every time he admonishes people, it's because they're not doing those things. This lifestyle is confirmed in Acts, where people had everything in common and shared what they had and valued the lives and the experiences of the oppressed. What I really liked about liberation theology is that I see a lot of space for my communities in it. Of course, there is a historical and present day oppression of Black people, not just in the United States, but also around the world. Similarly, but not as well documented, is the oppression of disabled people throughout history and the ableism that comes from not making spaces open to everybody so that we can all participate in society. I've seen that same thought echoed with the LGBT community, especially trans people, that we are some of the most oppressed people groups within that larger umbrella. That's why I identify so strongly with this school of thought, because it gives me hope that God is ultimately on my side and on the side of the oppressed, despite what the dominant culture tells us. The biggest criticism that I've heard about liberation theology is that sometimes it focuses too much on the minutia of feeding the poor and doesn't look at the larger systems that created those problems. But I think that's where my passion for the beloved community comes in. To build a world where everybody can be seen, known, loved, and encouraged to live into their purpose, we can't just look at the small things. A lot of it is focusing on these larger structures that have been set up to oppress us all. I think we have to look at this at both a micro and a macro level. On the small side, we're feeding the poor, we're investing in the lives of oppressed people and trying to figure out what we can do to change their current situation. Then at the same time, we're addressing these large systemic concerns that put people in those situations and lead to these smaller cases. I don't think it has to be either or. I think there's a lot of organizations and communities and people groups who also agree with me and just want to do this on a small scale and a large scale. And I think it's all of us coming together and bringing those resources to really achieve what we're looking for, which is the end of oppression, which I think is also the glory of God. So yeah, that's just what I've been thinking about this week. Comment below if you have thoughts, and I'll see you next week. Deuce.